everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my next week in music where I share all of the music that I've been listening to in the last week and chatting about it. Today we're trying a different style because I thought it would be fun. So let me know in the comments if you like this style or if you want me to go back to the one that I usually do. So let's start with my top artists. So my top artist this week was Erin lecount, and I've been obsessed with her music lately. I really love her I Am Digital, I Am Divine EP. My favourite song off of it is Godspeed, as you will tell when you will hear my top tracks of the week. So yes, she is my top artist for this week with 24 scrubbles. If you haven't seen this series before, you don't use Last.fm. A scrubble is basically just you listening to something once. So I listened to Erin lecount 24 times this week. So my second top artist was Kahan, and I absolutely loved his Glastonbury performance. I thought it was incredible, and it was really cool that he brought out Leve, because I'm a really huge Leve fan. So I listened to him 22 times this week, and that's because I listened to this album Stick Season twice, because it was really fun to listen to whilst I was winding down before I went to sleep. So yeah, next one is Taylor Swift with 21 scrubbles, and that's because I listened to the album Lover quite a lot this week. Lover isn't my favourite Taylor Swift album, but it is definitely up there. I prefer it to Midnights. I think it's really fun with tracks like Cruel Summer, I Forgot That You Existed, Lover, The Archer. There's just so many really good songs on that album, so I really enjoy listening to that. Next we have The Smiths with 17 scrubbles. I've been listening to their albums because they're on NME's top 500 albums list. So I've really loved listening to songs like This Charming Man, which I literally can't stop listening to. And that includes the albums Hatful of Hollow and their self-titled album, and I'm really excited to hear their other albums too. Number 5 is Chapel Roan with 16 scrubbles, and that's because I listened to her album The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, which is one of my favourite albums of all time. I've definitely streamed it a hell of a lot. And yeah, if you still aren't into Chapel Roan, what are you doing? I started listening to Chapel Roan a couple weeks before she blew up, so I'm very proud of that. Next we have Ms. Lauryn Hill, and that's because I listened to The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which I thought was an incredible album. Definitely a 10 out of 10 album. My first 10 out of 10 album I've rated out of the top 100 albums I've been listening to, because I'm starting from number 100 and going down, and then I'm going to go back up to 500 afterwards. So yeah, I really loved that album. I love the fusion of all of the different genres on it. I thought it was absolutely incredible. Next, with 16 scrubbles, we have Super Furry Animals, and that's because I listened to the album Radiator, because it was one of NME's top 100 albums. So I really loved that album. I thought it was really interesting. I rated it a 9 out of 10. And I highly recommend that if you like kind of interesting production on your music. Next we have Joni Mitchell with 15 scrubbles. I've been loving listening to her album Blue. I think she's one of the best songwriters of all time, so I've been finding her music really inspiring lately, as I've been writing lots of music. So I highly recommend you go and check out her discography. I've only listened to the album Blue so far. I have yet to listen to albums like Ladies of the Canyon and Clouds, and albums like that. But I absolutely love all of the music of hers I've heard lately, and I've got California on repeat, so I highly recommend you go and listen to her if you haven't listened to her much before. Next we have Inhaler, and I really love Inhaler. I started listening to them last week, and I just really enjoy their music. I think it's really fun, and I've only really listened to their debut album, It Won't Always Be Like This, but I'm excited to listen to Cuts and Bruises and Open Wide. My favourite tracks are probably My Honest Face and Totally and In My Sleep, but I absolutely love each and every one of their songs. Next we have Queens of the Stone Age with 14 Scrubbles, and that's because I listened to their album Songs for the Deaf, which I thought was really, really cool, but it did take a couple of listens to really get into it, because I thought that the whole album would be full of screaming, because the first song has some interesting vocal techniques in it, but luckily the rest of the album wasn't like that. I really started to get into their music when my brother recommended the song No One Knows, which was really, really cool, so I'm excited to hear more of their albums and see more of their sound and stuff like that. Next we have the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and that is because I've been listening to the song Dark Necessities way too much this week. I literally played it before I started filming this. So because I started streaming that song because I saw it on an Instagram reel, I listened to the album The Getaway, which was really, really cool, but I'm excited to dive into their other albums because they are a very, very cool band. Next we have Neutral Milk Hotel with 12 Scrubbles, and that's because their album In the Aeroplane Over the Sea is on NME's top 500 albums list, so I listened to it because of that. And this album was very, very interesting. I really, really liked the instrumentation and the lyricism. I thought it was really, really cool, but it definitely wasn't for me. I think it might take a couple more listens. I did review it on TikTok, and it's been my most watched TikTok so far. It's got like 20,000 views, and a lot of people were annoyed with me that I only rated it a 6 out of 10, but I just find the vocalist, someone commented and I agree, the vocalist's voice is a bit grating sometimes, so I think it takes a bit of getting used to and a couple of listens to really, really get into it, but I thought it was really, really interesting to listen to a different kind of album, and I hope to listen to it again soon. Next we have Nina Nesbitt with 12 Scrubbles. I'm not going to talk much about this because I always have Nina Nesbitt on my top artists. So yeah, if you've seen the other episodes, you'll know that I'm really into her album Mountain Music at the moment, so I've been listening to that a lot. So yeah, that's why she is high on the list. Next we have Public Enemy, and that is because I listened to the album Fear of a Black Planet. I found this album really, really interesting, but it definitely wasn't for me, so I didn't finish it. But I've got 12 Scrubbles because I re-listened to some of the tracks to try and review it for my TikTok. But yeah, I just really couldn't get into it. I thought it was really, really cool and really interesting, and I did enjoy it a bit, but it really just wasn't my kind of music, so I didn't finish the album, but I highly recommend that if you're into hip hop. Next we have Prince, and I listened to his album, I think it's Purple Rain, because it was on NME's top 500 albums list. I thought this album was really, really cool, but I didn't really listen to it properly. I didn't really concentrate when I was listening to the song, so I need to listen to it again to really have an opinion on it and be able to review it. So yes, next we have The Libertines with 11 Scrubbles, and that's because I've been listening to their self-titled album lately because I really, really enjoy it. Next we have The Rolling Stones with 11 Scrubbles, and that's because I listened to Beggar's Banquet, which I really, really loved. Sympathy for the Devil is a really, really cool song. I highly recommend it if you haven't heard it before. And yeah, it took a couple of listens to get into that album. The first time I heard it, I didn't like it, but once I listened to it the second time, I really, really got into it and really enjoyed it. Next we have Alessi Rose with 9 Scrubbles. I'm really surprised she's not higher up in this list, but it's probably because I've listened to her music a lot lately, so I didn't want to listen to her loads and loads. So yeah, she isn't as high as normal. Next we have Florence and the Machine with 8 Scrubbles. Just listened to, I tried to listen to High as Hope for the first time. I couldn't really get into it. I think that's going to take a couple of listens. but it was a really, really cool album, so I'm excited to hear more of it. Next we have Lana Del Rey. I was listening to a bit of Born to Die. I really, really loved that album. It was my first Lana Del Rey album that I got into after Norman, and then after that I got into Norman Bleepin Rockwell, so really, really loved that project. And I really, really love that it's got like the Paradise edition. It's got loads of extra songs. I think that's really, really cool. Really funny thing happened when I bought that album a couple of years ago when I first got into Lana Del Rey. When I bought the Born to Die Paradise edition, they literally gave me a disc of literally just Paradise, so it only had the 5 or however many bonus tracks on it, which was really annoying, so I had to get them to send in another one. So yeah, it didn't have like Born to Die and Blue Jeans and all of those songs on it. It literally just had the bonus tracks on it. Next we have Lorde, and that's because I've been listening to songs like What Was That, Supercut, and some of her album. But I still haven't listened to the album yet, the new album Virgin, because I just can't get into it. But maybe on a quiet evening while I'm reading a book, I might want to listen to that. Next we have Maisie Peters, my most favourite artist of all time. Haven't listened to her a lot this week. I'm waiting for MP3, so yeah, that's why she's not higher on the list. Then we have Ash with 6 Scrubbles. Just listened to a couple of her tracks, not as much as last week. Then we have Griff, because I listened to quite a lot of Vertigo album, which I really, really love. I highly recommend Griff if you haven't listened to her before. She makes amazing pop music and she's such an amazing lyricist. So yeah, highly recommend that. Next we have Talk Talk, because I listened to their album Spirit of Eden, which was on NME's top 500 artists albums list, which was a really, really interesting album. It had really, really interesting production, and talking to my dad who used to listen to Talk Talk, it's very different from their other stuff, so it's really, really interesting to hear something that's different from their normal music. It was my first Talk Talk album, so I'm excited to listen to the other stuff in their discography to see how different it is. But yeah, then we have Gracie Abrams with 4 Scrubbles, then we have Lola Young with 4 Scrubbles, Sam Fender with 4 Scrubbles, Olivia Dean with 3, Paramore with 3, Roxy Music with 3, Somber with 3, The Last Dinner Party with 3, and then we go into the ones where we've just got 2 and 1 Scrubble, so I won't go into those, but those were my top artists. I listened to 53 artists this week, and then I listened to songs from 85 different albums. So my top album, with no surprise, was I'm Digital, I'm Divine, which is actually an EP, and I listened to that 21 times. That's by Erin LeCount. But yeah, absolutely loved that project. I'm so excited to hear more music from her. Then we have Stick Season by Noah Kahan with 21 Scrubbles. Absolutely love that album. I think it's one of those perfect albums that you just couldn't really improve on anything if you tried. It just is incredible. Then we have Lover by Taylor Swift, which I really, really enjoyed. Then we have The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill with 16 Scrubbles. Lover was with 19. Then Radiator by the Super Furry Animals with 16 Scrubbles. Then The Smiths by the Smiths with 15 Scrubbles. Then Songs for the Deaf by the Queens of the Stone Age with 14 Scrubbles. All of these I've already talked about, so I'm not going to go into them. But all of these albums, I think I'll just show you now, because I won't talk about them all, because I've already talked about all of these. Yeah, I'm not going to go over these again. So yeah, those are all of my top albums of the week. And now we go into tracks. So my top track of the week was Godspeed by Erin LeCount with 7 Scrubbles. Really, really love that song. I'm not going to go into detail about all of the rest of the top tracks. I'll go into detail in them next week, if I scrabble them again next week, because it would just be so long to go through each individual song. So yes, I'll show them all now.